So this is my HTML coding. I did it on the BBEDIT or BB Edit app. I tried the Text Wrangler, and this was the most recent version of it that I was told to download. So I did. So I did this, and this is the rendering that it gives me. Um, so I'll start with the HTML tag that I started with, which it just basically defines the root of the document. So it starts with HTML and ends with HTML. This is closing the tag with the forward slash. And then you start after HTML, you put in the head, which defines the information about the document. You put the title in it. I put welcome, and again, I closed it. And then I closed the head and started the body. And over here, you can tell that my first header, all about Miriam, is up here. And I closed it and made sure I closed it, because if I didn't, and I refresh that, then subsequent information would end up being the header font. So you have to make sure to close it. And then you see that I have a figure tag, and this basically just specifies a self-contained content. So I put in an image tag, put the source in, which is basically the URL in quotes, alternate, which means just what information will be displayed if the picture cannot be displayed, and then the width and the height, and close the tag for image. And then I put in a figure caption, which is this right here, and I put in a view of Marriott Aruba, and then even the symbol that is HTML compatible. Close the figure caption, close the figure, and then started with the introduction, which is here. And then I put in the next paragraph. That's what the P means. If I didn't do that, actually, I guess because the closing of the H2 was there, it works. But it should happen on every single one. And I even started to close it too, because that's what the documents, the tutorials had told us to do. I also put a span tag here, which basically just I think that might be CSS, but it just told the document what I would like to alter between the two span tags, and I decided to style the color of the font, which was cyan. So over here you can see that this portion of my website is cyan. And then in order to put in a functioning, oh, that's interesting because of the application. Well, if I drop it into viewing it onto Safari, it should function. Oh, it doesn't on certain sites or applications. Interesting. So I'll have to look into that. But at least for now, in order to embed it, you use the tag iframe. Put in the height and the width that you would like, and then the source of the information. I don't know why I put 20 there. But that's just the frame of the video, and then whether you allow full screen or not. And then moving on, you go into background. Again, it won't render on here, but if I do go on the website on an actual internet connection that you're able to see, this is the header number 2, which makes it bold and larger. And then I put in information and added a link here, which links to the Chicago school. And in order to do that, you need to add the tag A, and then href, and then you put in the equals, and within quotations you put in the actual URL that you'd like to link to. The A defines the hyperlink, so you'll have to open it and close it. And so that's how I did it. So you opened it, you put the link in, and then you put in the text that you would like it to say. So over here, if I were to change this to say, I don't know, there, and then updated the rendering, you can see that it changes the information. So basically it continues header, open, close. You can see that here on hobbies. And then I put in a couple breaks to push the table down that I made. So if I put in, I don't know, 2 more breaks, you'd be able to see here that the space is much larger. And breaks, because they are just breaks, you don't need to close them. And then you start with the table. So the tag for the table is obviously caret table. But then I decided to put the width as 50% because that means it only takes 50% of the window. If I decided to make the window larger, it would then expand to still half of it. If I decided to put, I don't know, 90% on here, then the table would go 90% of the page. So then you do the first tag is TR, which indicates, what does that indicate? Oh, yeah, it defines a row in the table. So then I put in TH, which is the header cell in a table. So I put in hobbies, ranking, and time. If I deleted time spent, again, this is just text. So if I deleted time spent to just time, that's how it would display. And then TD is defining a cell in the table. So then I populated those two. So the cell, TR, the row. So you close it, open it back up, all the way down. So subsequently, that's what it ends up looking like. At the end, I put in a couple breaks. I put in a third kind of header, so that's smaller than the header number 2. And then I put in the tag for an unordered list. If I decided to put in ordered list, then it would have ended up being numbered. So there's a specific order to it. But for every list item, you put in the tag list, put in the text, close the tag. Afterwards, I put in an HR tag, which basically is just a line for the changing of themes. And then at the end, I put in a style button where if you click it, I mean, it doesn't do anything because it's not super interactive, but it's a separate item. And then at the end, I was able to put in a comment for me. This tag, this caret, exclamation point, 2 dashes, and then closing the dashes indicates to HTML that it's simply a note for me and does not get displayed on the web page. And then you close the body and close the HTML, and that's it. So I found out what the issue was with the YouTube video, and it was simply the URL that I was using is blocked on certain applications. So I selected a different one and rendered it on the preview, and it now works. So there we go.